Hello and welcome along to Adobe After Effects with your host Robert Smith. In this part 5 and final section of creating some effects with synced music, we're going to add the audio spectrum just to add a little bit more disco to the whole scene. And to do that, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hold the control key down and click down here and create a new solid. Now make sure it's comp size and okay, doesn't really matter what color it is. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to search for the audio spectrum, which I already have, and there it is, the audio spectrum. I'm just going to drag that onto the timeline, and then your solid disappears. Okay, now, as you can see over here, we have lots and lots of options for our audio spectrum effect. But the main one, or the first thing we want to do, is to go up to the audio layer, click on here, and select the early funk or the music layer. Let's play it and see what we get. As you can see, we get some little spikes happening over here. Not much at all at the moment, but they are in time to the music, which is what we want. Now, there's a whole series of videos to show how this works properly, but I'm just going to drop my end frequency over here down to about 400. That'll give you a more even spread along the whatever you call this, the spectrum. Okay. You can see it's bouncing up and down all over the place, which is what we want. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to wrap that around the dog. And so to do that, I'll make sure I'm on that layer, so select the solid layer, come up here to my pen tool, and I might just zoom, Apple Plus, zoom in a little bit. Maybe that's a bit too far. I'm going to create a path around the dog. Now, it doesn't have to be too accurate because the dog does move a little bit. There's going to be lots going on, so I'm just roughly making a path around the dog like this. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to connect that audio spectrum to this path, which is great. You can use any shape you like to do this, or any path. I'm just coming around here. Very nice. Okay, so there's my path, Apple minus. I'll zoom out like that and just move this up a little bit so we can see what's going on. Okay, make sure that's fit up to 100%. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to connect that effect to that path. To do that, I'm going to go over here, and under path you'll see now we've got mask 1. If I click on that, like that, it'll now, if we play, you'll see that it's all happening around the dog. Now it's time to play around with some of the properties of this effect. Now you probably see that it's actually cutting itself off here. So very nice, just what he needed. Okay, I'm going to up my maximum height a little bit like this, so they jump a lot higher. I'm going to go to my frequency bands and put a few more in just by dragging that to the right. My thickness, I'll up the thickness just a fraction. My softness, I'll drop back to 0. I like hard ones like that's good, hard lines. Now as you can see, it's going both sides of the path. Now we can fix that by going down here in the effect where it says side A and B. If we go to side B, that should put it just outside the path like that. So let's have a look what we've got so far. I'm just going to Apple Z that, rewind, play. As you can see, we have the audio spectrum's doing its thing. Okay, so I'm going to up my maximum height so I get much more dramatic, much bigger jumps if you like that. Very nice indeed. And a few more bands across here like that is good. Now I'm going to twirl this wheel around a little bit, around to here, and you'll see you'll get a spectrum of colour, which is great. But it seems to be cutting off the mask, so to fix that I'm just going to go down here like this mask where it says add. I'm going to go none like that, so it'll just go without the restrictions of the masking box, which is exactly what we want. So I'll just rewind that. Let's have a look at it. Okay, that's very dramatic. Okay, what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to duplicate that layer. Apple D to duplicate it, like this. Get on that layer, and find a spot where it's jumping a lot. About there is good. And I'm going to change this down here from digital to analog lines. So I get a line like that. I'm going to change the color to white. Just by dragging that up, making that white. Making that white as well. And now we need a few more bands in that, so I'll just go for a few more bands. Actually, that's not looking too good, so what I might do, I might change that from analog lines to analog dots. That's more like it. Okay, I might just drop the maximum height of those down a little bit so they're a bit closer to the dog. Very nice. Okay, I'll just stop that and click anywhere over here, get away from my pen tool, and let's watch the magic. With a bit of music. Watch the dogs grooving, the dog and the kookaburra grooving along, with a bit of nightclub style light action in the background. Now you can continue as many of those, duplicate it as many times as you like, and make a very dramatic landscape with those colours. But anyway, that's the basis of it, is to get a couple of still images, use the liquify and the puppet tool, and then add the audio spectrum to create an interesting little, well, interesting or cute, whatever you want to call it, little animation courtesy of After Effects. Okay, thanks for watching.